Hello guys and welcome back. Hope everyone's doing well. In lockdown at the moment. It's been a nightmare. I hope it's all over soon. In this video we're going to be talking about how men are upgrading. And it's a concept of the Darwinian Male, which is an ebook that I wrote a long time ago, similar to the male advantage concept. The one phrase that it focuses on is what used to be praised is now expected. So, for example, I remember when I was growing up, and I'm only 27, but when I was about 15, my sister and her friends were like 18, and they'd always talk about how a guy had a car. You know, oh, he drives, he has a car. Oh, wow, and he has a car. Wow, that's impressive. Now, in this era, if a guy has a car, it's like, yeah, why doesn't he? Like, he should have a car. It's a bit different in London because we've got great transport links, and I think it's probably the same in, like, New York and stuff, but it's kind of, I know in LA, if you don't have a car, people are like, what are you doing? You have to have a car. And there was a time in history when that just wasn't a thing. Like if you had a car, that was unbelievable. And it just focuses on that concept of what used to be praised is now expected. So another example, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He used to be, probably the first or ever professional bodybuilder that we ever saw. The first guy who actually put it mainstream. And you see some old pictures of him standing in the street just posing. And you see so many guys that, and I know this would happen today, but not on the same scale, but so many guys are just like staring up looking like he's some sort of freak, like they've never seen it before. Because back then, and this was in Family Guy, they said in shape, out of shape guy from like the 40s or something like that. It was a joke that they made. And that's what guys used to be. They did manual labor jobs. They were like pulling heavy chains and stuff. And they'd have good muscle mass, but they'd have a lot of fat on top of that. And it was kind of in shape, out of shape. And Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of took it mainstream. Now, in this era, you'd be lucky. You could meet 20 men. And I guarantee in this era, at least one of them has a good body with a six-pack. Could be considered a male model maybe like 50, 60 years ago. And it just focuses in on, like I said, men are upgrading. What used to be praised is now expected. And women just have this giant tick list now of traits that they expect. And it's not nice, guys. It's not nice. I'm not saying that this is a good thing and we should all keep up and we should be summoned to the expectations of women. That's why I made the other video that was on how more men should look at other areas of the world, places like Hungary, Poland, etc., because the women are like straight 10s, but they expect 10 times less. And I'll bring that up at the end of this so you can watch that. But based on the concept of men are upgrading, we all need to be careful. We all need to be careful because every generation, younger men see what their fathers did or what other guys in that generation did, and they kind of match it with ease and then add something to it, or at least 20% of men do. So you see that your dad was maybe, he owned a business and he was earning 100,000 per year. And that back then that was celebrated massively, which it still would be today, but it was celebrated on a scale that we wouldn't see today. That son may be like, okay, I'm going to outdo my dad. I know it's possible, so I'm just going to achieve that plus some. He might earn $500,000 a year. Now he's raising the bar, it keeps raising. My dad lifted weights. I'm not saying mine. My dad lifted weights. He was in pretty good shape. Okay, I'm going to go one above that. I'm going to get in better shape than he ever could. Or that the guys from his generation lifted weights. Now it's part of our culture. We kind of do it every single day. It's like squatting. Fat asses used to be rare. Now, like, real, let's say, girls from the country, white girls from the country have now got asses like black girls from the city. And the whole cultures are changing where people are like, okay, I need to upgrade myself. I'm going to go and squat 6 days a week for 2 hours. And the same's happening with men is we're seeing guys that are in great shape and we're like, oh, I could achieve that. Oh, I could get to that level. Especially with platforms like Instagram, you scroll through and you're like, oh wow, That guy's in that sort of shape. Oh, wow, that person owns this. Oh, that person has this sort of life. That person's dressing like this. I'm going to start dressing like that. And the levels just slowly go up because we're all competing with each other all the time. And like I said, it's not nice, but it's the game. It's the game of life. We kind of have to play it or fall behind. And that's how I think the incels arrived. I think the incels were kind of that bottom 20% of men who were like, oh, it's lame to work out. It's lame to be in shape. It's lame to become successful. And they dropped down the pecking order as everyone else kind of rose up, self-improved, and cared about themselves. And then that bottom 20% just gets smashed away by the wayside. And it's kind of, they've become incels through not upgrading, not improving, not moving with the times. And all of us need to be careful of this Darwinian male concept of, the survival of the fittest, how we're all butting heads every single day. And there's now, it used to be maybe 5 guys from a village would be competing for the best looking woman. Now it's like 50,000 guys all competing for one woman on Instagram. And even on a local scale, there's at least like 200 men that want the prettiest woman at any one given time, who are trying to message her, who are thinking that they've got a chance. And these guys are seeing other guys and going, oh, okay, well, he's in a better shape than me. I better get in the gym and get in better shape. Oh, that guy owns a BMW. I'm going to take one out on finance. And it's not a good idea. I'm not saying that, guys, but that's what I mean about this collision that's going on between men of we're butting heads over so many different components of, yeah, he's a good looking guy, but I earn more money. And I'm not a bad looking guy. Oh, I've got all of that, but also I'm in great shape. No, I've got all of that, but also I know 4 languages. Like, eventually we're just going to have these guys that are just, they look like Anthony Joshua, they think like Elon Musk. They've got all these traits, they're multi-billionaires. It might not get to that scale for everybody, but I'm just saying, the top 20% of men are dragging everything upwards, and the rest of the population, bar the bottom 20%, are kind of slowly following. And a guy who's average today, who's considered just normal average, take him back to 1920, 1930, he is killing it. Let's go. No, I'll tell you what. Take a guy from 2020, an average guy, and you put him on the streets in 1970. He's cleaning up. He's one of the most attractive guys. His kind of like way of life, like his views on racism, his views on women and equality, his views on going to the gym and physical fitness and his methods, his way of thinking, his level of intelligence, the way he dresses, the way he moves, the way he, add all of these things up together, his haircuts and stuff like that, they'd be revolutionary. And people might be like, wow, this guy is a cut above, he's a level above. Even if the culture was the same, I still think that the way of thinking would just elevate you, or the way that you dressed, or the way that you all the methods that we know now, like orthotropics, all the things that we know about NoFap, like all MGTOW, you could easily like put all those into another generation and just be top guy quite easily. And I think that it's only going to accelerate quicker. So all of us need to watch out, guys, because men are upgrading. And I feel like if you don't play the game and go with the times, you're going to fall behind and be in that bottom 20% where you're like some 40-year-old guy who is lonely, who doesn't have a lot going on, who's going to yoga classes to get in shape and to play catch up at a later stage in his life. And I just find that quite sad. I always said that at the age of like 40, 50, if you're still like kind of the T-boy getting bitched out by the boss, you did something wrong at some point. And I think the time is now to keep upgrading, to keep moving forward, to keep finding, where's this era going? Okay, so pretty much 1 in 20 guys now have a great body. I should probably start working out, just in case this becomes the normality. 1 in 20 men now have started a business and they're pushing it forward and trying to achieve something big. I should probably start looking into that and see what I can do. 1 in 20 men now know a language. They probably don't, but 1 in 50 probably know a language. Okay, that's something I want to add to my repertoire. And I think just giving yourself these weapons all the time and just saying, okay, instead of perhaps I want to have the latest iPhone, I want to have the biggest TV, I want to have the nicest car, I think focus on the traits, the qualities that are going to drag you through. I think that's probably the best method here. Forget about the technology or going out to parties, because this kind of revolution that we're in now is moving quickly. The amount of guys now that are going and getting like hair transplants. There's like a new level of male beauty. I'm doing a documentary on this soon. I'm going to put it on our streaming platform, which I've actually built now. I think it's going to be about £3 a month or £36 a year. I think it's quite reasonable. At the start, I might make it free though, so look out for that, guys. When it's ready, I'll show you. It'll be in the App Store. If you can keep hearing me sniffing, recently turned vegan. Not recently, maybe a year ago, but now and again I get rid of all these toxins in my body. So that's like a method of upgrading. And I can just feel, I'm not ill at all, but my body just gets rid of all these toxins for like 2 days. And then after that, I'm completely fine. But it's the weirdest phenomenon. And the second I might accidentally eat a product that has a tiny trace of milk in, streaming. Really interesting. Something to do with the toxins. But guys, seriously, take this message and run with it, because like I'm on your team. I hate this game of life where we have to keep doing stuff to impress women. But if you do want to stay up in that top 20%, you're going to have to start adding new traits to your life. You're going to have to start upgrading, because the danger is you're going to get left behind, fall down that ranking, and maybe even end up in that bottom 20%. At 40, 50 years old, I don't think there's a lot you can do at that point. So watch out, guys.